Hey, it's Don, the Auction Professor here. I just got another quick one here. As the title says, I'm going to tell you what to do with those items you just can't sell, even with the junk drawer lots. And if you don't know what a junk drawer lot is, just click the link up here. Junk drawer lots are a way that you can sell all those little tiny items and just junk items that you haven't been able to do anything with, or that you bought that just aren't worth selling on their own. You put them together, you put them in a lot. Again, look up here for the junk drawer lots. I promise you that's one of the best ways that you can do to actually get rid of all those things that you can't sell. Again, at the end of the day, there'll still be some things that you can't sell. We do a lot of paper. There'll be scraps. There'll be just junk, just printed paper, damaged books, things that you just can't use. So we're going to hop to the screen right now, and I'm going to show you another way. Instead of throwing them away, you can save them up in a box and just sell them as a lot, as miscellaneous items. And I'm going to show you that right now. So here we are with junk journals. What is a junk journal? That's probably the biggest question. It's basically an old book or a book put together that just has a bunch of junk thrown in it. They'll glue pockets on, they'll shove old tickets in, or even copies of old tickets, or old random letters, or they'll glue in extra pages from like a Bible or a kid's book or something along that line. Most of the time, people that make these are using books that they would have thrown away that have no value otherwise. Maybe the cover's still good. Maybe the insides are still good. They'll mix up different books, different genres. Some will be geared towards like one specific thing. Now, you're not going to make it rich. You're not going to retire on this. It's not going to be a fortune. They don't sell for a ton of money, but it is something that you can make some decent money on for just junk. Many people will have friends and relatives save stuff for them. Old zippers, button bags, just loose clothing buttons, tags from clothing, bottle caps, vintage bottle caps or new bottle caps, or labels, or old tickets from, modern day airliners, or just junk that's laying around the house, a stamp off an envelope that's new that's not worth anything. Old ribbon, zippers, just you name it. They'll put it in a book. Baseball cards, collector's cards, bookmarks, all kinds of stuff. Price-wise, they can go for a couple $100. One thing, though, to consider is that eBay is not the only source to sell these on. Etsy is a good source. Some of these can go for real good money on Etsy, probably more than even here on eBay. There's also Homemade by Amazon and several other sites that you can sell handmade stuff like this. The better ones, the ones that almost always sell good, are geared towards a specific genre or thing. Like the first one here is The Wizard of Oz, and it's sold for $120. Now this is big. These are something that people do in their spare time. They may do like 10 all together. What they'll do is they'll get boxes of just junk items. Sometimes they're given away at old sales. Sometimes they'll work out deals with auctioneers and estate sales, so that when the junk paper at the end of the day or stuff they're going to throw away, they may be able to get it for nothing, just to take it off their hands. And they'll spend time, their free time here, free time there, and they'll make something out of it. They'll make a book, a junk journal. Now, if you've got time, you've got junk, but you can't source, or you don't have any way or know what to do, and you have at least basic skills, you can do this. Again, you're not going to retire on it. You can make $20-$30 extra from one or two of these a week. You could make more and more as time goes by. They sell at craft fairs and festivals as well. So there's a bunch of places you can sell these at. But back to the topic here that we're talking about is getting rid of that junk. What you do is you put them in a big lot, a big box lot of items. 100 pages of junk, tickets and stuff, or just mix up all kinds of stuff. So it's basically a junk drawer lot for little tiny pieces of stuff that really carry no particular value whatsoever. These are things that aren't even worth it for normal aspects, but you put enough interesting pieces, or you tie it to something specific, and you can get a few bucks out of it. $10-$20 a lot. I know that may not sound like a lot, but all it is taking stuff as you're sorting through these big lots, whether you get them in auction, estate sales, however you buy your stuff. If you get big junk lots, throwing them in a box. At the end of the day, you're going to have a box full, or the end of the week, or the end of the month. It's nothing more than a space. You separate them by paper items in one box. You separate them by smaller items in another box. 2, maybe 3 boxes if you want to get a little more technical and put fabric and stuff in a third box. It's basically the same thing you do for scrappers, because you separate, your scrap by bronze and brass and nickel and steel, if you're doing steel, of course. And you separate it that way, like aluminum bins and things. Same thing goes for the junk drawer lots. If you get a lot of stuff, you do flea markets, you buy in big bulk like we do, you're going to have tons of stuff that you can throw in these bins. End of the month, you have an employee do it. If you don't have an employee, you got a slow time, you can't source, or you don't want to source, you throw this stuff up there. It's all worked into there. This is like the bottom of the barrel stuff, and this usually works for a decent return on your investment. You're going to make your time, you're going to make a few bucks, and you're not going to be throwing it out. So, that's how I look at it. Again, it's not huge. These are just the solds. So it's got a decent sell-through rate. Some of them, the people took some time. Some of them, it looks like they took time, but it's just printed material. People will print stuff on their PC and, print them at home on a color printer. They're all over the place. A lot of them are best offer, buy it nows. In fact, that's the majority of these. As you can see. Now, there are some in the higher dollar range that did have bids. There's one for 88 and stuff. So, again, you're not going to retire on it. But this is something you can do week after week after week. You can have relatives and friends save you junk items, old Christmas cards, or any of that stuff laying around the house. I bet you $1 million that a bunch of you, the majority of people, are going to have friends and family that can give them just junk that they don't want. Old bottle caps from 5 years ago that have been sitting out in the garage. Labels, whatever the case may be, you're going to find some of this. Books that are damaged that you can repurpose the cover. Again, put them together. Look it up yourself. Spend a few minutes and look this up. The title on this one was just Junk Journal, $100. And again, they spent a little bit of time on this. They might have bought a book, maybe not. Again, some of this can be printed on your printer. Some of it can be paper scraps. Some of it can be, just junk that you had. Something cut out of a magazine. This rare oddities could be out of a magazine. Who knows where a lot of this stuff comes from? Some ink stamps, some rollers, stuff you print. And this is out of season, mind you. In season, these Halloween and horror and spell books go for a ton of money. Now, I'm just giving you junk journals now. You can type in spell book, magic book, incantations book, and things along that line. You're going to find people that made those as well, just like this. This is a whole huge field if you didn't know about it. They'll take repurposed old books and do all kinds of stuff to them. There's people that make them from scratch and buying their own leather to make it look like vintage ones. I mean, I'm talking works of art to some extent. They'll emboss the covers and decorate them with gilt and all kinds of things. So there's a ton of this. This is the low, and this is what you can do with a lot of those items. People find this kind of stuff. Random pages, printed material, and again, a lot of this can just be printed on your computer. They'll actually age stuff when it's new to make it look old. They'll actually soak it in tea and coffee. It's all simpleton stuff. Nothing you need. Your old leftover coffee, save the old tea bags. You throw the tea bags in some water and you put the paper in there. Let it dry. Let it get wrinkled. Let it get crinkled. These are all just junk. That's literally it. That's in the title. There's not much to this. Spend a few minutes here. If you think I'm crazy, look it up. A lot of it sells. And again, it doesn't just have to be junk journal. There's Sweet 16 books. There's all kinds of stuff like this. Just depends on the seasons too. It's a junk journal. There's nothing to it. You're selling junk. This is the bottom of the barrel. It still sells. There isn't much that I can't sell in one way, shape, or form. I very rarely throw anything out. Whether it be for a recycling purpose or not, I don't need to. Most of the stuff that we get sells straight out. What doesn't sell, we put in a lot. What doesn't sell from there or isn't worth listing in the first place, we may throw in a junk drawer. We'll put it together in a lot and then take it to an auction, or we'll sell it in big box lots for junk journal junk. Next one here is a little golden book that they've repurposed. They've taken the book apart, they've saved the cover, they've recovered it onto a book that they've constructed out of other pages from other books. That's what a junk journal is. You can buy a book, you can make a book, you can get just junk scrap paper. I mean, there's a ton of different things. There's people that just make their own paper on eBay. They'll grind it up in a blender, they'll pour it out on screens, let it dry, and boom, they've got custom-made paper. So again, 55 bucks on this is just a repurposed book. It's got stuff glued in. It still has all the pages. All they did was add some embellishment to a few pages here or there. They may have cut a few pages. They may have added other pages in between them. Looks like they've taken actually maybe a comic book page, or maybe they even just cut it and then turned it in a different direction. It's just a matter of gluing these together. And again, it doesn't matter if the pages are the same level, the same length, as long as there's room to actually write on some of the pages. That's all that people like. Again, this even goes along the lines of scrapbook material. So, I mean, there's just so many options. When people tell me there's nothing to sell, what am I going to do? I can't find something in my area. Just here's another perfect example. Again, there's no right or wrong way to put together a lot for junk journal stuff. There just isn't. There's no way you can be wrong, because anything goes in a book. Old tickets, tags, you name it, I've seen it in a junk journal. Now, I do a lot of art stuff, so I run across people that do stuff like this. People reach out to me that do artsy stuff from doing some of the videos. So, you know, this is just another one of those areas I've known about for years, and we've messed with. Old lace, people will take clothing apart and then cut the lace off on some of these. Free. It's free when you get free clothing, you know, or their child's tutu or something. They'll take that lace or taffeta or whatever's on it, and they'll stitch it to a book or glue it to a book with a hot glue gun. I mean, for $4 or $5 in actual product to put this together, you can make one of these. And that's no exaggeration. It's probably even cheaper than that, depending on where you get your stuff. You can actually source at auctions or at craft sales where there's scrapbookers quitting it and selling their stuff. You can get a lot of this stuff really cheap, like the glue guns and the glue sticks and all that stuff. Look on Craigslist. I find them all the time. Just another example of the awesome material they've put together here. Now, they don't all look this fanciful. Some of them are cheaper and more generic, but this is really nice. They're using coloring books. They're soaking the pages to give them that rippled look. All kinds of stuff just to make it. Old greeting cards, last year's Christmas cards. Christmas ones do well. Themed ones do very well. Easter ones do great. Character ones are awesome as well, too. I mean, 50 bucks. 12 bucks to ship, no big deal. Just another example. Size doesn't matter either. That's a postcard right there that they've glued into here. The other side's probably just a Christmas card back or something along that line. There's other cards in here. There's just wallpaper, Christmas cards, just junk. I sell to people that make these all the time, my scrap lots and stuff like that. So here's some of the pockets that I'm talking about. You can see the pocket. They've just shoved in some other material. It's stuff that you can take out. You don't even have to glue it in. You just glue the pocket in and cram some stuff in there. The book is still here. Some of these are big books. Some of these are small books. Size even isn't that much of a consideration in this area. It's how it looks, how cute it is. You can see the person's hand or fingers there. It's a small book. Just another one, and they'll shove in paper, receipts, just all kinds of different odds and ends. Somebody's just stitched on some fabric pieces, and again, you can get scissors. I have a pair of scissors that cut the edges like that on it. A quick, simple stitch across it. You can glue in a paper page and then stitch fabric to it. I mean, there's all kinds of things that you can do. There's nothing to this. Something like this may take an hour to do. They may have $5 in product. They're going to make 20 bucks on it. And that's within an hour or so of time. It just depends. People will do a bunch of these together. They'll have a sewing machine room or a crafts and art room, and boom, that's all there is to it. Here's just another idea of a repurposed book. You know, little golden books. You know, and I've talked about little golden books as well. If you want to look right up top here, I've got a video just on little golden books. Something that you can also make a lot of money on. So anyway, 40 bucks on this one. And the last one here is just another little golden book. This person does a bunch of these. They don't just do one-offs. They can do bunches of these. There's many different items like this that you can sell. So anyway, that's what I have for you today. Well, there you go. Hopefully that gave you some ideas and some thoughts. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button down below. You can also hit the bell icon to be notified when I post new content or go live. Subscribe and tell a friend.